Hello everyone, I welcome to the second session on Python Basics Module 1. So last class we discussed about the introduction about the Python, everything. So in this class, we'll study how to write the Python program. The table of the content of second session are as follows. First, Python program, comments, print function, input function, length function, and string, int, and float conversion functions. So we'll see what is Python program. So last in the session 1, we have executed some of the commands in the interactive shell, okay, where you will be having the prompt and immediately it will be interrupted and we'll be getting the result. Today today we'll see how to write a Python program. For that, we required a file editor. The file editor window will not have the shell prompt. File editor lets Python programmer to type many instructions and save the file and run the program. Enter the source code, then click on the save button and give a file name, anything, file name .py in the file name field and save. Click on the save button. After saving the file, you can run the program just pressing F5 key. The program should run in the interactive shell window and you can enter your input which is required for the program and the output will be displayed on the interactive shell. So these are the steps you required. You required a file editor to enter the instruction of the program and enter the source code. Click on the save button, give the file name and save it. Later you press F5 key and you can run the program with the input and you will get the output at the interactive shell. Let's look at the very first program of the Python here. Okay, so hashtag, this program says hello and ask your name. Okay, so the first line what we are reading, that is called as a comments. We know that comment are non-executable instruction that is given some additional information related to the program. Next, print hello world. So hello world is a string which is enclosed within a single quote. Next, print again a string, what is your name? And I'm using an input function. Already last class we've discussed what is the use of an input function. So input function will take the strings which is given by the user through any input devices. So always the input return will return a string. So that is assigned to a variable called my name. Then print, it is a good to meet plus my name. So plus is a concatenation operator which is concatenating two strings. The length of your name is, you'll be calculating the length. Then again we were asking one more question to the user, what is your age? So whatever the input given by the user will be assigned to my age. Again we are displaying you will be plus concatenation string. So we know that input is a string, it will return a string, but I want a age in an integer value. So you can convert here and again you'll be adding +1 to that. Again it will be converted to string and it will be concatenated with a string called in here. Okay, so let's see after executing this particular program how the input and output will be considered in the interactive shell. So you'll be entering hello world will be displayed. So and at the command prompt, the program will ask what is your name. I'll be writing A1. It is good to meet A1. The next length of your name is 2. Again it will ask what is your age. I'll enter 4. So +1 it will be added and it will be displaying will be 5 in a year. So this is the interactive way you'll be the program will be communicating with the user and user will give the input. According to that, the output will be displayed at the interactive shell. So we'll see some of the statements which we have considered. The first one is the comment. So when you go back to the previous program, the first one hashtag followed by this program says hello and ask you for a name. So this is considered as a comment. So what is a comment? The comment gives some extra information regarding the statement or a particular instruction in a program. So what are comments? So the Python ignores comments, it is not interpreted. Any text for the rest of the lining following the hash mark is part of the comment. So if you want to write a comment, it should start within this hashtag. Then a Python also ignores the blank line after the comment. Whatever the number of blank line we have given after the comment, everything will be ignored. So example is hash followed by the any of the text. So this is considered as a comments. The next one is print function. Print function is similar to the your printf statement what we have studied in C or C++. The purpose of the print is to whatever the value you are passing, that will be displayed on the any of the output device. So the Python is calling a print function and a value is passed to the function. A value that is passed to a function called as an argument. So you can pass a string, you can also pass a variable. If you're passing a variable, the value of the variable will be displayed. So print hello world. So look at here, hello world is a string. We are passing an argument hello world to a function print. So what happens? Hello world will be displayed at the interactive shell prompt. The next, I'll be assigning a variable a is equal to 10 and I'll be printing print 10, or you can also take print a. So it will be displaying the value of a at the prompt. The next one is the input functions. Just now I discussed what is an input function. So the input function waits for the user to type some text on the keyboard and press enter. The function call evaluates to a string equal to the user's text. So input function takes whatever the user has entered in the form of a text, that is in the form of a integer. Even though if you press, even though if the user enters 100, the 100 will be treated as a string, not as an integer. Example, my name is a variable and I am be calling the input function. So whatever the user will enter via input function, that will be assigned to a variable my name. Similarly, now you can use the print function to display the value or the content of the variable my name, that is A1. The next one is the length function. So what is a length function? The length function receives a string value, a variable, and the function evaluates to the integer value of the number of characters in that string. So it will calculate how many characters are there in that particular string. For example, if I press length hello, so it will be returning the character 5. So what is the meaning of this is there are 5 characters. So if you pass an empty string, it will return 0. So the length is a function which will evaluate the number of characters in a given string. The next we'll come across some of the major 3 important functions, that is string, integer and float. So string, the str function can be passed an integer value and it will evaluate a string value version of the integer. So whenever you want to convert one value to another value, that is another data type, implicit conversion or explicit conversion, we have already studied. Whenever a conversion is required, we call this particular function. For example, in this, I am passing an negative integer value. So this will be converted to string. If you want to convert any integer or float value to a string, so I'll be calling a function called str and the value will be passed. So it will be converting that to as a string. So now minus 3.14 will be treated as a string. So similarly, an integer, whenever a string value has to be converted to an integer, we'll be calling an int function. So int, I'm passing 42, which is in the form of a string. So the integer function will convert the string form of 42 to an integer 42. Similarly, float, whenever a float conversion is required, we'll be calling a float with the argument. So in this example, the float method will receive a string that is 3.14 in the form of a string, which will be converted to 3.14, that is the float form. So these are the some of the examples we studied in this. Okay, so how can we uh, convert integer to everything? Let's see the same example. How can we execute that? For example, I've taken a is equal to 10 and I want to convert this to STR A. So the A will be converted. Let's check what is the type of A. Now integer. So now if I assign this, B is equal to STR of A, and I'll be check. So in this, the integer A is converted to string and I am assigning that to another variable B, and now a B is a string. So this is one of the example. So let me read one of the variable. A is equal to input. I enter now hello and I'll be printing A. A is a string. Let's check the type of A is treated as a string. So let me find the length of a variable. As we discussed, there are 5 characters. What is the length of a empty string? This one, because I have given space, is 0. So these are the some of the examples where we just now we studied. Thank you. Thank you for joining the session.